Level 106. First, this bunny can only be hit by this bomb. This bunny only by this bomb. So we see Y and Z are not 0. In this column, we can't have a line like this. So one of these needs to be a wall. These are not walls. So we see that X also is at least 1. The wall in this row has to separate these, so it can't be here. And similarly, we need a wall somewhere here that connects to that wall, or else these will connect. So these are not walls. And it's the same down here. This cannot be a wall. Neither can these. We need some kind of wall here. And since one of these is a wall, this cannot be hit by this, so it has to be hit by this. Also, we can't have a connection here, so this bomb cannot hit this bunny, which then has to be hit by this one. Also, we need walls here to separate it from this crystal. There we see that X has to be 2. Therefore, this bunny has to be hit by this X. Now this bunny can only be hit by this bomb. And, well, we'll see about this bunny. Now this crystal is connected here, so we need separation here. Also, one of these must be a wall to separate these. So these are not walls. This needs to be separated somewhere here, so this cannot be a wall. So X is 2. That means this bunny can't be hit by this bomb, so it has to be hit by this bomb. That means currently Y equals 2, but it can't be 2 since we know that X has to be 2. So it has to be at least 3. It's going to hit either this or this. Also, this can't be a wall. And since we need separation between these, this is not a wall either. This bunny can only be hit by this bomb. This bomb has to be hit by either this or this. Therefore, we need a wall here. That grays out this row. We need separation here. That grays out this row. And we need separation here. One wall left in this column has to be here. That grays out this row. And we need a wall here to separate. That means this, well, it can still be hit by this, or could it? Yeah, this is grayed out, so it will be hit by this bomb. And now there has to be a wall between here and here. That grays out this row. This is gray. So now we have to have a wall here. That means this bomb needs one more target, which has to be this one. This has 2 targets and can't hit this bunny, which has to be hit by the Z bomb. We need a wall here to separate zones. We need a wall here. Now this is gray. So is this. We need a wall here. And we need a wall here. Now this is gray. This row is gray. So now we need walls here and here, as well as here, 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 and finally the last wall is here. Level 107. Let's see here. If this bomb hits this one, what happens then? Then this bomb cannot hit that bomb. We get this. Now, it has to hit one more bomb. And now, what happens? This has to happen. This bunny needs to be hit by this bomb. What about down here? This bunny has to be hit by this bomb. This bunny by this bomb. And now we have a problem. And it all started with this bomb hitting this bunny, which means that can't be. So we go back to square one, knowing that this has to be a wall. And there are only two bunnies it can hit, which are these two. And now this bunny needs to hit two. This bomb needs to hit two bunnies. One of them has to be this one. Then either this or this. This bunny can only be hit by this bomb. And it's going to hit either here or here. Now this bomb can't hit this bunny because it would also hit this one. So this needs to be a wall. That means this bunny has to be hit by this bomb. And since this needs two targets, it has to be these two. And now there has to be a wall here, and this bomb has to hit this bunny. Now we need a wall here. And let's see here. This bunny is taken, so this bomb has to hit this one. There has to be a wall here. Now this is gray. Let's see, there's one bomb left, and it's going to hit these two. Now let's see. This has to be a wall. One of these has to be a wall. Maybe both. Who knows? We can fill in this row with walls. Now this is gray. And so is this. So now we can fill in this row. And also the bottom row has to have 4 walls. Now this is gray. This row must have 2 more walls. This row can be filled in with walls as well. Now this is gray. One of these two has to be an empty space. So this connects here, which means these two have to be walls. This column can be filled in with walls. So now this is gray and so is this. That means these two are walls. This is gray. 2 more walls to place, and this is the final one. Level 108. We need to separate these two. Let's see here. You have a cluster of 3 bunnies. What if there's a wall here? Well, what happens is this hits these, and it has to hit one more, but it can't hit just one more. What that tells me is these can't be separated, and one of these hits all 4. That means bunnies have to be connected as 4 on all the edges. That lets us fill in this column, and we can also fill in this one. Now this is gray, so these are connected, and there has to be a wall here. And these are connected, and we need a wall here. And need a wall here. These are connected, and one of these at least is a wall. Now we see these 2 groups of bombs and bunnies are connected, and they will be connected to this water drop because there's only one wall left, so we can't, and of course it can't be blocked in. So this is connected to all these, and that tells me this has to be connected to these. There's no path for it to get here. And these have to be connected to this one. And of course, there needs to be separation between these and this water drop. So the remaining wall here and this column cannot be one of these. And also separation here. So we need, we can't have any walls here, because the remaining wall has to be here somewhere, here or here. And now one of these has to be a wall to separate this from this. That means these are not walls, and we need a wall here. So now this is gray, and we see we have to have a wall here, graying out this column. Can't have a line here, so there needs to be a wall. This can't be a wall. And the same, well, there are two walls left in this column, so there might be a wall here. Now, this has to be a wall, or this, because you can't have a line between these. So these are not walls. That means we have to have a wall here. Now this is gray, and we need a wall here. Now this is gray. And finally, we need a wall here. Graying out this row. This is gray. We need to have a wall here. This is gray. And we need a wall here. That grays out this column. This row is gray. And the final space has to be a wall. Level 109. First we block the bombs off, and then we fill in these gray rows with empty space, and now we see these columns have X walls. If X is 0, we need to have a wall here, and that can't be, since this column then would have to have 0 walls. So X is at least 1. Now, can X be exactly 1? What happens then is the sum of the columns increases by 1 times 4, which makes it 25. That means this row would have 0 walls. And since this row only has 1 wall, that means we can't block both these and these bombs. So that means X is greater than 1. Now we can fill in this column with walls, and that grays out this row. That means we need to have walls here and here. And it also lets us fill in walls in these columns. Now, the X columns only have 3 spaces left for walls, which means X can be no greater than 3. So X equals 3. That means Y equals 1. Now we can fill in this column, and we can fill in the X columns with 3 walls each. Now, we can't have a wall here, because then we would have an isolated empty space. So this must be empty. Therefore, this is a wall. Same thing down here. Now, this is grayed out, and this column has 1 more wall, which has to be here. Level 110. So in this column, there are 5 walls. That means that this bomb cannot hit this bunny. So it has to hit this one. That means it can't be hit by this bomb, which, well, it needs other targets. Has to be at least 1 wall here. So this bunny has to be hit by either that or that. But it can't be hit by this one because there are too many walls in this column. So it has to be hit by this one. this bomb has to hit either this or this. And the other one has to be hit by this bomb, which needs one more target, which has to be this. So since it will hit one of these, it can't hit this one, which has to be hit by this one, which needs one more target, which has to be this one. And then this bunny can only be hit by this bomb, which means this bomb hits this bunny. And let's see, we can fill in some walls now. Here, this must be a wall, this must be a wall. And 3 walls in this column, so these are walls. So this bomb hits this bunny, this hits this. There must be 2 walls here. And there are 2 walls here. This column can be filled in with walls. And now let's see, in these rows, we need to have a path from here to here and from here to here. So that means we have to have one empty space somewhere here and one somewhere here. That tells me these cannot be empty spaces. And the same in this row. So we have 2 separate paths from here. And let's see, we know one of these is a wall. So if one of these is a wall, then both of them have to be a wall. Because if not, we get a diagonal wall. So both of these are walls, both of these, and both of these. And now we know this has to be a path, and one of these. And since there's only one wall in this column, the path has to be here, and this is walled off. And now this column has 7 walls. We can fill in. Now let's look at this column. It has 1 wall. It could be here. That would block off this area unless this is empty. If one of these is a wall, well, there are 2 walls left in this column. So we will have a block here. So either way, this needs a path here. And the same way here. This needs to be empty. And that lets us fill in this column. And this must be empty in this. And now the rest of this row has to be walls. That means this is gray. And now we see we need a path here. And here. Now one of these is a wall. And that tells me that there has to be a path in one of these in order for the crystal to connect to this. That means, yeah, so one of these is empty, which means this has to be a wall. That means this has to be empty, and the remaining wall in this column will be here. So that means this is empty, and we must fill in the last wall in this column here. So we must have a path here, and the remaining wall in this row will be here. That grays out this column. There's one more wall in this row. This can't be a wall, so must be a wall here. This is gray, and this must be a wall.